Good morning and welcome to our next early post-secondary opportunities webinar. I am Trinity Walsh, the coordinator of early post-secondary opportunities, and I will be your host for today's webinar. We have some fantastic guests joining us today who will be showcasing their efforts to remove barriers and create access for high school students through a collaborative partnership. We have From Ludlow High School, we will have Superintendent Mike Borchers and Director of Student Services, Jennifer McMillan. And from Gateway Community and Technical College, the Director of Early College Initiatives, Shelby Krentz. We're happy that you could join us today. Okay. So we're so excited that you are here and you have some wonderful things to talk about. So let's just go ahead and get started. One of the things from an outsider's perspective that I think is so special about the vision that you all at Ludlow have created for your students is that you're trying to make real connections to post-secondary paths and instilling a mindset of continuing your education and plans after high school. So, Ms. McMillan, can you tell us about how this vision started, when it started, and what it looks like for your students?
So Mike Borch is our superintendent. Starting 13 years ago, when I joined the central office team, made it a part of his mission that he really wanted to increase dual credit opportunities and involvement from our students. And he, with the support of the board, made it their mission to cover all costs and remove all barriers to our students. So all students receive full tuition paid for and any fees or books or materials they need for that. At the time, they were also given laptops too. That was before kind of a lot of schools were one-to-one. Now that's every student has that in our school. But at the time, that was a unique thing that all the students received a laptop too to make them more successful in the programs. So his overall goal and mission was to have as many seniors. I mean, he would have loved to have had at least 100% or all full 100% of the seniors off campus in some kind of experience by the time they graduate. But we have definitely improved and increased our numbers that by the time they graduate, around 80% on average each year of our students they leave with college credit.
And what kind of
the River City project, though, came out of all the River City schools with Gateway as a leading partner to change they work with us on what courses are offered and the times of the classes and all that part of it to make it doable for the kids and the scheduling. So
awesome. And I'm going to circle back to that idea here in a little bit. But tell me a little bit, Mike, tell me a little bit about the thought process of what you want from all of your students at Ludlow High School and their experience.
Well, first, Jenny and I worked together as high school principal and guidance counselor for years. And we found that our kids were prepared. They had good ACT scores, but when they left, we had a lot of kids come back Christmas time or after the first year if they went away. And we kept looking and trying to discuss what the problem was. And we felt like they needed an experience while they were still here at Ludlow with all the services and support that we offered. So the discussion was being able to get all of our kids prepared to be successful in post-secondary. We knew that they were so used to all of the processes and support we had in place here while they were in high school. We needed to mimic that when they were going into post-secondary. So we started out early on with what we would, consider our high-end students, like Jenny said. Tried to make things work, but one day she came into my office and said, "If you really want to make this real for college, you got to get the kids laptops and find the money and get it done." And a week later, we had the order in, and it kind of went from there. But what we want to do, when you hear 20 years ago, it was all about going to college. Now it's the post-secondary experience, and it may be a 2-year degree. It may be a 4-year degree. It may be starting to get dual credits in a welding or an auto tech program that allows kids to get a certificate degree that they need to continue their work. But we wanted to give every kid that experience and not limit them and hold them back and make sure that when they left here, the vision was that our job was to get kids college ready, which meant that they would have that experience here while they were in school. We just felt with the board support, we had a teacher one year getting ready to retire. We were able to adjust our schedule and we started using that money out of the general fund. And now it's just morphed into every year we look at what our kids are wanting to take and what it's going to cost, and we budget that into the budget for the next year. And the dual credit scholarships allow us to offset some of that cost. But that's one of the biggest barriers for families is the actual cost. So we don't allow that to be an excuse. So every kid has that opportunity. They can't say, well, I can't afford it or my parents can't afford to feed. Well, that's not even an issue. And that goes to all the work Jenny does with Shelby and making sure that's all aligned and gives our kids the opportunity.
So, Jenny, tell me a little bit more. I know that in a previous conversation, we were talking about how you help the students to not only pay for the things that they need in the books and the materials, but accessing that. So tell me about what you all do to help make sure that they get everything they need.
We again, Gateway is a wonderful partner with that, and they set up to where we have an orientation on Gateway's campus. We meet with parents and students before the semester starts on our campus, but then we take a bus down to Gateway's campus, the parents too, so they can learn more about it, see the campus, and kind of feel comfortable with the experience. So that's a great way to transition. I also think, though, then on our end, our teachers, our school counselor, and then I kind of help with the students, sort of teaching them how to college and how do you communicate with your instructor? What does it look like if I have to miss class? Should I miss class? Am I allowed to miss class? Things like that. I hear from instructors sometimes about classroom behavior and kind of just sort of teaching the students how to college, basically. We have a lot of first generation college students, and sometimes their parents they haven't had that experience, so they don't know what to expect either. So it's kind of teaching the families what's appropriate and what's the expectations there.
Jenny
Awesome.
does a real good job too, because what we did early on was we wanted to give the kids a true college experience. So we're not looking over their shoulder every day they're in class or follow them to school every day. So, we're lucky we're on the bus line so they can use their Gateway ID to get a free tank ride to the community college. But we don't bus them and keep somebody on campus. We really allow them to experience that college experience. And sometimes in the fall they struggle a little, and Jenny has a talk with them and their parents, and they make vast improvements in the spring once they realize what that is. But if they were doing that on their own and it was costing them full tuition rate, I don't know that they'd be successful after that first semester. So I think that builds a lot of confidence moving forward.
I agree. And for the students who feel like maybe going to Gateway's campus is a little bit too much for them, it's a little uncomfortable, what do you all do in terms of having courses on campus?
I will jump in. Mike came with an idea. He actually approached Shelby first about this idea, that he wanted to kind of hit, as Mr. Borchers mentioned earlier, it was started off as like sort of our honors kids, and it going to Gateway and taking college courses kind of replaced some of our AP courses. But he kind of wanted to go, okay, what's that next group down who maybe don't have the ACT score to get into those programs? So we went about looking into sort of the first college level course with the supplemental course. So on our campus, we were able to credential an English and math teacher through Gateway, through the KCTCS system, and they teach courses here on our campus. So it's meant really for either students who don't want to go off campus, but more so students who may not have that ACT score, who if they were graduating and going to college, they would be taking the remedial or supplemental courses. So students can take, again, all paid for free. They take the courses here taught by our teacher on campus all year long. So in English, they basically complete English 100 and 101 all year long. And then in math, it's the math supplemental 151S and 151, the stats class. So we do have some students who, while they're not off campus, they still have that college experience, and they're certainly getting that on their transcript, but they're also building that confidence in that they can they can be successful at college. But then we feel like, although it doesn't necessarily meet the supplemental class part, doesn't necessarily address the KDE's definition of career readiness or college readiness, we feel like it truly does, that they really can go out and they have earned college credit beyond the supplemental course, but even so, they are ready to take more college courses.
Right. So Trinity, when you hear that 80% of our kids have taken a college course, we're real close to that 80% of our kids being able to go outside after they graduate into college and not need to take any remedial courses. And then that's our definition of being college ready. You're able to do that. And Shelby can talk a little bit to it. When we first did this, she had to do some work behind the scenes to get this allowed for us. I think we were one of the first KCTCS agreements in the state to do that. And at the time, that it's changed now, but at the time that a remedial or supplemental class cost the full amount versus the dual credit. And she did a lot of work for us to be able to offer that as well. Is that right, Shelby?
It was, yes. And truly it is only for the seniors, simply because it is remedial. So it is for those seniors that are just below the benchmark that need that extra help, but truly can do the work. So it's proving to them you can do the work and you can go on to college. So it's a great fit and it works out. It's a benefit of the student, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we're here for.
Ms. McMillan, you want to share your little personal story with that?
Are you leading this?
Hey, you asked my next question, so thanks so much.
There you go.
My husband, we have two sons, and both graduates of Ludlow in the last few years. And our oldest son was a great fit for the off-campus program, graduated with his 24 college credit hours, got a lot of his gen eds out of the way, and it was a great opportunity for him. One of his years was COVID, so it was a little virtual, but it was still a great experience for him. And as a parent, was wonderful, obviously, having those credits paid for and that he had that head start. I know a lot of the parents with kids in that program look at it also, not only could they graduate early, but they could kind of slow down in that first year or two once they graduate, that they don't have to take maybe 15 to 18 hours a semester and still sort of graduate within those 4 years. So that's a nice benefit. So that was a great fit for our older son. Our younger son wasn't really sure what he wanted to do, and he experienced some trade programs as a junior, but as a senior, he felt like he kind of changed and wanted to experience a 4-year college, but he wasn't ready to go off campus. So he took advantage of the 2 courses that we offer on our campus, the English and math. He was that 16 ACT kid, not sure that he wanted college at first, but kind of was changing his mind. But I can tell you that that year, it was a senior year, but the experience of those 2 classes really changed his confidence level. And I watched it all year long, and I told the teachers that, and it was just such a wonderful experience, as seeing it here for the other students too, but really as a parent too, that I got to see just that confidence building in my son, that he realized, like, I can do this. And very appreciative to his teachers and Mr. Borchers and the board for really offering that to all of our students. But it was a great way that, for him personally, that he had that confidence and went on, graduated, and he just finished his first year at Western Kentucky University with transitioned well and had a great first year. And I really truly believe that it really went back to being a part of those 2 classes as a senior.
That's great. That's exactly the kinds of stories that we love to hear. And why dual credit in our state is so important, to start with those kids who are a little unsure, and they can see that, yes, I can do this and be successful. So I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm going to shift a little bit here to Shelby. And Shelby, tell me a little bit about some of the connections you have with Ludlow and the things that you have worked with them on. And then from there, I'm going to shift into telling me a little bit more about the River City Schools project and all of that.
Yeah. So with Ludlow, I mean, it was prior to 2015. Dr. Hughes was our president, and him and Mr. Borchers and a number of the superintendents in the area got together, and they were wanting to do some things and to make opportunities for the students in the River City area. The River City program kind of came together, working with Ludlow specifically. Mr. Borchers always had great ideas with innovative things that we could do. One of the pieces being the classes being offered on their campus for those students that could not come to our campus for different reasons. But it's always great to work with them because they're willing to work around what their students need. They have great students. They are willing to be open to the different types of classes. And, when we sit down, we have monthly meetings, all of the school districts for the River City program. And we want to talk about what are the classes that we're offering, simply because these students, yes, we're Gateway and we want Ludlow students to come to Gateway. However, we understand these students, we want them to go on to college. We want them to go on to the careers, wherever they want to go. We want to set them up for success. So we want them to take classes that are going to transfer on to Thomas More, to NKU, to UC, to UK, wherever they're going to go, to Western, wherever they're going to go. So we work with the schools intentionally to see what do they need as true dual credit to work back at their high school, because some of the school districts do need different classes. But then also, what are the core classes so that they are taking them to transfer on and they are intentional. What we're offering is intentional. So I always appreciate the communication that I have with Ludlow, working with Jenny specifically, and then Pam as well is great to work with. But the students, I can't say enough, and I speak for Gateway in general, that the students that come to our campus bring life to the campus. And I know across the state, dual credit looks a lot of different ways. Some dual credit is strictly at the high schools, being taught by high school instructors and at ATCs. Gateway loves having the students on our campus because it brings life. And especially down at our urban campus. And so I know in the mornings it is bubbling with our students. And I have to say that the classes are just, it's amazing. And so I can't speak enough for the program. And I know that I speak for Gateway to say that this program is just a wonder for us. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate everything that Ludlow has done to help build this program.
But everyone needs a Shelby at their place to make this program work. So everybody
Yes.
needs a Shelby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Tell me, when we were talking about River City schools, tell me what school districts are a part of that, and tell me a little bit about what that means. And I know we talked a little bit before about the River City Promise. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so we have Bellevue, Dayton, Newport, Ludlow, Holmes, and Lloyd. That's 6. Yes, I always have to run through them. So that is the group of our River City network. We all meet once a month, and sometimes it's different representatives from the schools, but basically it is all of us meeting. It is also people from Learning Grove. We all meet together. Learning Grove has a part in helping us with some of the soft skills, helping us with finding co-ops for some of the different pathway programs that we're offering. So it is really a team effort between Gateway, the school systems, and Learning Grove, all working together to make this an option or a possibility for the students. But we have monthly meetings, and then we also go out to the schools and do some things with the schools like orientations or bring them to our campuses.
And what is the and Mike and Shelby, you both can talk to this. Tell me a little bit about the River City Promise and what that looks like.
The River City Promise is a scholarship program for students in any of those school districts that meet a certain level of income, that if they graduate, when they graduate from their high school, if they enroll directly into Gateway, complete a program with Gateway, and transfer on to NKU, their schooling is covered, their tuition is covered at 100% with the River City Promise. So through Gateway and then also through NKU. So students, if they graduate from any of those schools, come directly into Gateway and move on to NKU, I mean, no out of pocket for tuition will come from them. So it's just a win for them. There are some things that go along with that, just some caveats, but school districts know about it. And then a lot of the recruiters from NKU and Gateway also know about it. So if parents have any questions, definitely reach out.
And they also have some of the wraparound services that our students are used to accessing during their high school years. A real quick story on that. We had a senior the other day, was looking at a college going away, started looking at all the costs, is going to be successful in college, and told our counselor, I think I'm just going to stay and take advantage of the River City Promise, because then when I get out of college, I'll have zero debt. And that's one of my biggest goals about college. So that message is starting to get across to our kids. Not that it's not been given out there, like Shelby said, but I think they're hearing it year after year now, and they're really starting to see the opportunities out there for them to take advantage of.
And what are your families and students? How do they feel about the community college experience? And that I know that the image of community college is shifting over the years, and what does that look like for your families and students?
I think one of the big things was years ago when we started the dual credit, the agreements between the community college and the universities where the transfer of credits is big. So they know when I go to those colleges, it's just going to be like taking classes at Northern or UK or Louisville. Those are going to go with us. I'll let Jenny and Shelby speak to it because they've done so much hands-on work there. But I think from where we were in 15, 16 to now, we've came light years. And it's been because of people like Jenny and Shelby working through our families. But I'll let them speak to that.
I would say that just the community colleges in general there's a little stigma there. And I would say nationwide, I don't think it's just the KCTCS system. There's a little of that in society, I think. But I really believe this program has helped sort of overcome some of those thoughts about community colleges from a lot of our families and students. I think they get in as seniors and see that it's the Covington campus that our kids attend it's cool, it's renovated, it has a really cool retro look, and they feel like, okay, it is, it's not your huge, large, flashy campuses, maybe around the state, around the country, but it's definitely got a cool feel to it. And there's a college feel. It's not a high school feel. So they do feel still special, that it's different and, and unique from high school and that setting. So I do think being on those campuses now in high school, they feel comfortable and they want to stay there. And they realize that, I can continue on here, and they want to do that, I think, more.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think the idea of the opportunities at the community college, along with scholarships like work ready scholarships for some of our programs where, tuition is covered for a lot of our technical programs. I think that is very attractive to some of the parents and the students. But also, you know, if you have scholarships and you have funding and your dream is to go away, do it. Go away, do it. You follow your dreams. But if you don't know what you want to do or you want to stay local, you know, this is a great place to be. We have a lot of high technology. We're up to date, you know, we're easy access. And being a community college, we've got classes at all times, all campuses. So I think it's a real good fit for a lot of our students, as well as we're here for everybody. We're here for if you come back in the summer to take a class. We're here if you're taking a class, you know, online that you can't get at your university. That is what community colleges are about. We're here to serve you as a student for whatever you need us for. So I think parents are seeing us in a different light, but then also, you know, the affordability. Just, you know, we're there and we're affordable.
Trinity, one thing I'd like to add, I think all of this works phenomenal with people like Shelby and Jenny, but we also did a real deep dive the last 2 years in with our staff. There's been a huge mind shift. I don't know if this is on your list, but Jenny had mentioned, you know, that it started out with like our AP kids. We had teachers, we had a disconnect for a couple of years. That's why we worked with One Goal. And I credit Dr. Thompson a lot. He came and spoke to our staff about 3 years ago, and he talked about opportunity and access. And anybody with CPE knows that's something he drives in everybody's mind. But when he got rid of the ACT score, we got rid of the costs. Now the opportunity was there, and the access through Gateway was something that opened up the floodgates for our kids. But we had to work hard with our teachers to understand that this was an opportunity and access for all kids, not just the ones that we earmarked in the high track. And we had some tough conversations and long conversations with our staff, but I think now they see Gateway as the first option for our kids, as the pathway to Northern, which is the partnership there. They also see that as the pathway to get a good start and go away to a UK, but only need 4 years versus the 5 years that it takes most kids because they have those credits Jenny talked about. So this is the big key to that access. It's the bridge from high school to college, and Gateway's that bridge that spans kind of that gap we've had for years.
That's perfect. You couldn't tee me up better today. Thank you so much. So as we are wrapping up here today, I'm going to give you each an opportunity to have final thoughts, any things that we didn't cover, any, you know, feel good stories that you have. What would you like to leave us with today? And I'll let Shelby start us off.
I just want to thank Jenny and Mike for everything that they've done to help this program to grow. I don't know if anybody else out there understands. Jenny and Mike, they are retiring after this year. And so it's a huge loss to Gateway, but they have built a wonderful program at Ludlow. So they will be missed, but they've built something great. And then I also want to thank anybody else that is watching this from any of our River City Network partners. It's a wonderful program. If anybody has questions, all of our schools in the River City Network does a great job. They're wonderful to work with, and all of the students are wonderful. So any questions from across the state, please feel free to reach out to any of our schools because we have great stories to share.
Thank you. Jenny?
I think the success is the flexibility and the great partnerships that the schools have with Gateway, and that is Shelby. And I would say Terry Van Handorf as well. She's at all of our meetings monthly, and Gateway has been a wonderful partner, flexible, and does anything to meet the needs of our students. And that has really helped this whole program obviously be successful.
Wonderful. And Mike, I'll let you bring us home.
No, it's game changing for our kids. I mean, most everybody in Northern Kentucky knows our river cities, our kids have a barrier socioeconomics, and this takes that away. And it gives them an opportunity that they may not have had. And I think it is game changing when we talk about I'm a first generational college student. And when you get that opportunity, it opens up so many doors down the road. Not that you can't be super successful doing something else post-secondary, but getting those college opportunities, it's just enormous. It gives the kids more things than they've ever dreamt about. But I also think the support we get from Gateway, the support we get from CEP. And then one thing that Shelby and Jenny never talked about is their constant continuous improvement. I don't think this program's ever looked the same from year after year. It's always adding something. It's always changing something to better improve for the kids. So the constant improvement that they're working to do with the program is the thing that sets it apart.
Thank you so much. I could honestly talk to you all for hours about this because I really love the collaboration that you all have. And I just think that you're doing a great job. And I would encourage folks who want to build their programs and be more collaborative and hear some good stories. I would encourage you all to talk to these folks because they're doing it right. So thank you so much for reducing those barriers for your kids. And I think a big chunk of high school is about exploration, and you're giving those students that opportunity to do that so that they can explore and see what happens next for them. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So before we wrap up today, I want to remind you all to check out our episode toolkit. All of our previous webinars will be on there with any resources that our guests have shared. And additionally, there's a plethora of information, tools, and resources to help you with your early post-secondary opportunities journey. So take some time to check that out. I know that you don't want to do anything else this summer, then check that out. Also, don't forget to stay connected with us on social media through our CPE Data Center, as well as our newsletter. We love to keep you informed about what's coming up and what's going on. And again, thanks to Mike, Jenny, and Shelby. What a way to cap off this school year. This will be our last webinar for the 2020 or 23-24 school year. So watch our social media, watch your email for the topics and feature guests for next year's webinar series. We'll be sending out the ELA certificates from this year's series via email over the next week or so. So check your email for that, and I'll have those out to you as well. And thank you so much to all my high school people. Good luck this testing season. And for everybody else, have a fantastic day and a great summer. See you soon.